The crisis of control. Imagine an age where you have access to every answer, yet you feel less certain about everything. We believed the internet would bring enlightenment, but instead, it delivered an unprecedented crisis of control. You are surrounded by more information than any generation before us, but somehow your mind feels more vulnerable. If AI and algorithms were just predicting what you might buy, that would be one thing. But what if they are not just predicting your beliefs? What if they are actively creating them? What if the anger you feel, the conviction you hold, or the trend you follow was carefully engineered in a server farm? We are not being attacked by robots. We are being softly conditioned by psychology delivered through code. And the scariest part? Most of us are too mentally exhausted to fight back. The silent enemy. Decision fatigue. This isn't just about being tricked, it's about decision fatigue. In a society that demands 1,000 small choices every hour, what to scroll, what to click, what to believe, what to ignore, your mental energy is depleted. Your brain is a muscle, and when that muscle is exhausted, it stops thinking critically and defaults to the easiest path: emotional reaction and conformity. The system knows this. It exploits your fatigue. This is why learning to safeguard your mind is the most crucial skill of the 21st century. It's time to stop being a slave to the algorithm and become the master of your own mental feed. In this video, I will reveal a powerful, simple, 3-step formula to detect subtle manipulation and reclaim your intellectual freedom. Let's begin. Step 1. The source detachment rule. The first line of defense is also the most counterintuitive. To think freely, you must practice source detachment. The problem is source attachment. We are taught to judge information by its source. Who is saying it? Which news channel is reporting it? Which group does this person belong to? This isn't critical thinking, this is tribalism. When you practice source attachment, you stop evaluating the information itself and start evaluating the trustworthiness of the messenger. Algorithms love this. They deliberately amplify content that creates echo chambers, confirming your biases and making you feel safe and righteous within your group. The moment you are emotionally attached to a source, be it a political commentator, a media brand, or a social tribe, you give away your critical lens. You become a loyalist, not an analyst. Carl Jung noted that the crowd has no conscience. The goal of modern AI-driven communication is to push you out of individual thought and into a collective consciousness where the group thinks for you. If a piece of information supports your team, you accept it without question. If it comes from the other side, you reject it immediately, regardless of the facts. This mental shortcut saves energy, but it costs you the truth. The mechanism of AI tribalism. AI doesn't need to lie to you. It just needs to know which people you trust and which people you hate. By observing your scroll patterns, your likes, and your time spent, the algorithm identifies your tribe and then feeds you narratives designed to validate your group's identity, making you feel smart and morally superior, and demonize the outgroup, using fear and outrage to create an us versus them narrative. This is why arguments online feel so personal. Your identity is literally tied to your opinions. To question the news source is to betray your tribe. The formula. Practice source detachment. Here is the simple practice. Evaluate the message, not the messenger. When you encounter a piece of content, perform this mental exercise. Acknowledge the source. Recognize where the information came from: CNN, Fox News, a specific influencer, or a friend. Physically detach. Imagine the core facts of the message being written on a plain white screen with no logo, no face, and no emotional words attached. Evaluate the core claim. Ask yourself, if my least favorite person in the world said this, would the facts still hold up? Or if my favorite influencer said the complete opposite, would the facts still be true? This practice forces you to bypass the emotional tribal trigger and engage your logical, analytical prefrontal cortex. It allows you to hear the data without being distracted by the drama of the identity presenting it. If you are finding this deep dive into mental defense valuable, take a moment now to hit the subscribe button. We are building a community here, dedicated to intellectual sovereignty in the digital age. And your support helps us keep challenging the narrative and bringing you this unfiltered analysis. Step 2. The emotional friction test. If source detachment handles who you listen to, the emotional friction test handles how you react. The problem: emotional conditioning. Emotional manipulation is the most efficient tool for control. A calm mind analyzes. A fearful mind reacts. A rational mind weighs evidence. An angry mind seeks vengeance. As the philosopher Baruch Spinoza noted, those who are able to control fear control the people. In the digital age, this control is surgical. Corporations, political groups, and media outlets use headlines engineered to trigger primal emotional responses: fear, outrage, and moral superiority. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman's work in Thinking, Fast and Slow confirms our brains are hardwired for System 1 thinking, fast, intuitive, and emotional, over System 2, slow, deliberate, and analytical. Manipulators know that if they can trigger System 1, they win. Example: a headline using words like shocking, outrageous, or end of the world forces your brain into a fight or flight mode. Once you're in a state of emotional arousal, you stop performing rational analysis. You don't ask, "Is this true?" You only ask, "What must I do now?" The mechanism of outrage amplification. AI maximizes outrage because outrage equals engagement, and engagement equals profit. The algorithm rewards loudness, not wisdom. It prioritizes the content that makes you feel the strongest, not the content that makes you think the deepest. This means you are being systematically conditioned to be angry, anxious, or perpetually smug, because those emotions make you a predictable, profitable consumer of content. The formula: apply the emotional friction test. The friction test is a simple mental pause, a moment of resistance against System 1 conditioning. When consuming any information, especially news or social media, and you feel a strong emotional pull, anger, fear, guilt, or intense pride, you must pause for 10 seconds and ask two specific questions. What is this message trying to make me feel? Identify the raw emotion being targeted. What is this message trying to make me do? Is it trying to make me share, argue, buy a product, hate a person, or join a cause? This 10-second pause is your intellectual safety valve. It creates a moment of friction between the stimulus, the manipulated headline, and your response, the emotional reaction. By naming the emotion and identifying the action desired, you break the conditioning loop. Remember, logic questions, but emotion obeys. The moment you can name the desired emotion, you can choose to discard it and engage your system to analysis. Step 3. The Assumption Reverse Protocol. The final and most difficult step is defending against your own bias. This is the Assumption Reverse Protocol. The problem: confirmation bias. We all suffer from confirmation bias, the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information that confirms or supports our prior beliefs or values. This is not a flaw. It's a feature of the human mind designed to create a consistent, comfortable worldview. But AI turns this feature into a fatal vulnerability. The mechanism of AI reinforcement. The modern internet is a confirmation bias machine. The algorithm doesn't want to challenge you, it wants to keep you watching. It achieves this by creating a personalized content stream that flawlessly validates your current beliefs. This makes intellectual growth impossible. Growth demands discomfort, the willingness to admit, I might be wrong. When AI removes all intellectual discomfort, your opinions become rigid and unshakable, even if they are factually incorrect. You become informed, yet enslaved by borrowed ideas. To reclaim sovereignty over your mind, you must actively seek out the uncomfortable. The formula: the Assumption Reverse Protocol. This protocol requires true intellectual humility. For 5 minutes, actively search for the most persuasive, well-reasoned argument that is diametrically opposed to one of your strongly held beliefs. For example, if you strongly believe a certain political policy is right, spend 5 minutes finding the best possible case for the opposing policy. If you are convinced a certain investment is a bad idea, find the most intelligent, fact-based defense of that investment. The goal is not to argue, not to convert, and not to debate. The goal is simply to understand the logic behind the opposition. This practice forces your brain to build new neural pathways, to see the complexity behind issues, and to recognize that reasonable people can come to different conclusions. It's the ultimate defense against the tribal, binary thinking that AI seeks to impose. Bertrand Russell once said, "Most people would rather die than think." In fact, they do. To engage the Assumption Reverse Protocol is to choose the difficult path of thinking over the comfortable path of conformity. Conclusion: reclaim your mind. The rise of AI-driven manipulation is not the end of human intelligence. It is the ultimate test of it. You now have the 3-step formula, your shield of consciousness. Source detachment. Judge the message, not the messenger. Emotional friction test. Pause 10 seconds and identify the emotion being targeted. Assumption reverse protocol. Actively seek the best possible opposing viewpoint. The purpose of this fight is not to win an argument. It is to secure the last bastion of your freedom, the integrity of your own mind. Every time you apply this formula, you weaken the system of control and strengthen your individual spirit. It begins with you. Be the one who resists the digital hypnosis. Be the one who chooses clarity over comfort. Be the master of your own mental feed, not the slave of the algorithm. If this video has opened your eyes to the subtle forces shaping your thoughts, then make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can awaken the lost art of thinking clearly in a world drowning in noise.